Everything we know, from people and ants to stars and galaxies to quarks and atoms, the entire universe, might just be a simulation running inside a supercomputer inside an even bigger universe. Ancient philosophers said that the universe is a dream that we're waiting to wake up from. In this dream world of the imagination, anything is possible. All cultural items, from the dreams of our rodent-like ancestors, to books, to television shows, are merely permutations of the reality we think we live in. Today's age of computers and video games places simulations at the center of our cultural consciousness. A select group of us perform simulations for fun and profit, and we call them games, role-playing and otherwise. We live to run simulations. Join us on the Simulationist podcast as we explore our culture of simulations.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Simulationist podcast. This is the 114th iteration of the podcast, and we're recording it on November the 9th, 2014. And my name is Josh Trelevin, as always. We have your...
You're sandwiched by Kirkby's today.
Once again,
outnumbered.
In the midst of the Kirkby brothers. Hey,
Two of the three.
We have Jason here. Jason Kirkby is with us.
Oh!
As a special guest host, I suppose.
Keyword special.
As an intern host, maybe, because we're not paying you for it.
That's true. We're not paying ourselves either.
Well, we're paying ourselves in fortune and celebrity and ideas.
That means you're a non-profit organization.
That's right.
I'm gonna write that off.
Does it count as a non-profit if you're, like, trying for a profit but fail? Because there's a couple companies that have posted, like banks have posted, like, oh no, we lost $1 billion this last quarter. That doesn't actually make them a non-profit organization. That just makes them...
I know that non-profit and not-for-profit are two different things, but one of them clearly indicates intention. Not-for-profit means you're not trying to. I think anything that doesn't make a net total amount of positive money, you could call that non-profit.
Because you could argue that Nintendo right now is like a not-for-profit organization. They could be losing a lot of money every year for the next 25 to 50 years, depending on how much they lose, and they will still be in business because, unlike so many other businesses around, they're actually well situated on a great like green reserve of cash they've held back in the good times.
That's clever. That is quite clever.
I think it's a model of what everyone should do. Oh, by the way, I'm Ryan Kirkby.
Just so we have everybody's name out there.
In case you forgot.
Yeah. In case this is your first time ever listening to the Simulationist podcast, sometimes it is.
Congratulations, you've got 113 more you can backtrack on to get caught up.
I promise you, they're all good.
And even if they're not, I mean, you're only listening to it. It's not like we got like a visual thing going on here, absorbing all your senses. If you find one that's not to your appeal, like clean your bathroom. That way, like 90 minutes later, oh no, it wasn't the best podcast I ever heard, but you know what? You got a clean bathroom now. Haha. You're welcome.
Life hack from Ryan.
Or just play the podcast over a muted visual of two people doing something else and talking. A lot of times that has hilarious results.
It works well for cartoons, too, especially with music, I've noted.
Yeah, because then they don't necessarily lip-sync properly, so it's a lot easier to get it. Yeah, that works.
Well, the way I see it is, Milli Vanilli still lasted a little bit before their career imploded because of the lip-syncing. If you do it with cartoons, like, they have a real decent excuse in that they're not actually real.
That's a good point.
You don't have to, impeach, Bugs Bunny and all that into declaring that, yeah, he was lip-syncing. That wasn't really his voice the entire time.
So I think that's kind of the expectation. It was not Bugs Bunny doing the voice of Bugs Bunny.
So there you go. We've found the double standard in the industry.
Very good. Should we talk about the things that we've been up to this week?
Topical things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Semi-topical, just about.
Slightly more topical than what we've been talking about.
Okay, so what have you been doing this week, Josh?
Okay, shall we start with...
Wait, I'm seeing more blocks. I'm seeing blocks and I'm seeing pits and...
Yes, you did that gag last week. And...
Wow, I'm getting double deja vu now. Whoa.
To be fair, I wasn't there for that joke, so it's new to me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have, and some listeners may be listening for the first time. If you are, welcome.
I do the joke again the previous week, so...
He does this joke every single time.
Yeah, I've been playing Minecraft, as usual, on the new server that I joined, the Rock server. And not much to tell because I've been doing grindy stuff. Like, I was mapping, like you make a map item, and then you have to walk around your world. To
you actually have to explore the map to detail the map.
So I did a lot of that.
Forces you explore more.
I am happy though that it does auto update once you've got that. If someone was to like level out all the trees in an area, you look, oh hey, look, all the trees are gone. You don't have to actually go to that spot.
Well, if the map is on the fully zoomed level, you do. But or fully zoomed out. If you're fully zoomed in, it automatically updates because you're usually in that same area.
Oh, so I've been doing it wrong all this time. That's right, because I'm always on a single player thing myself.
Yeah, so there's no one really else. Maybe some annoying Enderman somewhere, but more or less, yeah.
Oh, okay, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, so I guess it's cool being on a server too, because there's like people have built like really awesome builds, like castles and stuff. Like there'd be like a rocky island in the middle of the ocean. Like I'm sure nobody has been out here. Like definitely too far away. And then there's this giant castle, and this like they've emptied out the sea in a big circle because they have the
enough sand to do it, right?
yeah, they use glass and stuff and everything. And they have the new monster, the new Guardians.
Oh, yeah, those things.
They're like fishy monsters.
Creepy things.
Yeah, that's
I have not played it in a long time, so a lot of this is new, like these giant...
There are creepy, evil fish under the ocean. At the very dark depths, they have temples. The fish people do fishy things in there.
Yeah, and fishy things. All the players on the server seem to want their own temple, and there's plenty in the ocean because the ocean is big.
It's the hot newness.
Yeah,
right?
So everybody's got their own. Everybody's digging out these huge like swaths of ocean, like empty, drying it out or whatever. Yeah.
To be fair, I recall some very impressive stuff in Dwarf Fortress where the guy effectively drained the oceans in an attempt to breed specific aquatic creatures.
Yeah.
First step was to capture 2, so he generated enough worlds until he came up with 2 of the right type of ocean next to each other so that he could put a fortress on. And then he started a project where he literally was drained. He had enough shark to feed his entire fortress for 100 more years, and they were just a side benefit of his drain the ocean stage.
Jeez. Oh, nice.
That's just Dwarf Fortress, and apparently it's Minecraft.
Maybe it's just gamers, or maybe it's this whole generation. I don't know.
Maybe it's just give anyone the ability. I'm pretty sure if you could have done so in the World of Warcraft, somebody would have done like a Red Sea parting from Orgrimmar to maybe I don't know. It's like what's just on the other side there? Because you got to make it straight. Well, somewhere over in the Eastern Kingdom.
The other continent, the Kalimdor.
Yeah.
No, Orgrimmar is on Orgrimmar is on Kalimdor, but
I'm just thinking what's directly to the east of it, and I don't think there actually is anything. So, but it'd just be if they would have drained a path along the way.
Yeah. Well, I remember swimming. I can't remember which zone I swam from and to, but I swam a long way in Warcraft, and I don't know why I did it.
I was so bored. I once circumnavigated Kalimdor.
I never did. I was trying to think if that was my story, but it was.
I did do a few pit stops, so I found a little bit here and there that was out of the way that no one else would ever get a chance to see before they updated all the maps and everyone can fly there.
Now in Warcraft, you don't have to refuel or eat. I guess if you have damaged armor, you need to
repair. Yeah.
But there's no hunger mechanic in Warcraft?
Well, there's the fatigue if you go too far out into the water.
Oh, yeah.
That's about it.
Okay.
And that's just to keep you from swimming to the edge of the map and falling off the earth.
Yeah.
And okay, I'll buy that. That's a good enough excuse.
Fair enough. Yeah. So that's me. That's basically all I've been doing. Oh, what did I watch? I don't think it's important. It was a TV show that I'm trying to remember what I watched, but I forgot it.
Oh. Were you getting back into Gotham? Trying it again?
No. Although now that I'm gonna have to watch that.
I love the character histories on that stuff, and I really hope that they pick up Catwoman's backstory from this as opposed to Frank Miller's. She's a prostitute, sees Batman doing Batman stuff, says I can do that, and then does the end.
I don't know. I kind of like that. I never heard that before, but it's kind of funny.
That is perhaps the most succinct explanation for the current con. I
could do that.
Well, she's busy whipping some guy on the bed. She sees Batman go out solving crimes. Well, I can jump off a rooftop, and she kind of leaves the guy behind, and off she goes.
She's already wearing a cat costume. She literally had everything she needed. She's already using it. She had the grappling hook and everything. She just hadn't appropriated it to that use yet.
I could steal things with this instead of whipping people for money.
Either way, revenue income.
But, no, in this one here, she's a young, streetwise orphan named Kat. Or at least, she calls herself Kat. And I like it because it gives her, like, the source of local strength. Like, like, why is she always working Gotham? Not because, hey, that Batman guy's looking pretty, cute sort of thing. But because she's a Gothamite sort of thing. And she's as tough as Gotham has to dish out. If she was to go somewhere else, she'd get soft. No place is as tough as Gotham. Well, now that Bloodhaven got nuked.
Mm.
But, and the fact that, that way, instead of just being that, that hot lady that Batman occasionally arrests, sometimes lets go accidentally, it becomes like, she doesn't do any bad crimes sort of thing. She's mostly theft, and she's like a source of inspiration. Like, if Batman's ever not feeling tough enough, she can be there to kick his ass, and, like, she can represent Gotham. Like, if you want to be the protector of Gotham, you've got to be tough enough to take everything Gotham has to dish out.
That's true.
So, that way, I think it works better.
I always liked her as a quasi-villain. And
that's the thing is with enough positive aspects, she can maintain, like, oh yeah, she steals stuff, and no one will wind up saying, well, Batman, she's technically a thief. Why are you letting her go so much? Because then you can say, like, well, she works as a metaphor for the toughness that is the streets of Gotham itself.
Yeah.
And you know what? I can like that better.
Also, she's hot.
Well, the whole outfit is usually vacuum sealed around her, so okay. But I like it. I like what it gives her. I'm loving what they did with Edward Nygma.
I haven't seen that.
He's effectively their CSI guy.
No, that makes sense.
He keeps asking questions of them. Okay, so guess what PCR is? I'll tell you this. Okay, do you know what this does? He's kind of like the teacher that always asks the question before he explains things to you because he's just so happy to give you the answer. And it's so Edward Nygma. It's like, yes, I can totally see the Riddler, and that's beautiful. So I want to get into it myself, but oof.
I might get into that, but I still want to get into the Flash because it's just starting, and I hear it's good, and
it's rocking all my symbols.
I've always liked him as a hero because it's not like Superman, where it's like, oh, I've got a convenient power to deal with that. Apparently, I have X-ray, laser, heat, cold vision now.
My eyes have 7 different settings, 3 of which can kill you.
Exactly.
4 if you include cancer from the X-ray vision.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not. I think that's what he calls it. I don't think it's like actually X-ray. But,
well, he's able to see stuff through there, and there's not enough natural X-rays coming out in the world around. So either he's emitting X-ray radiation, or just his eyes are.
But then how? Like, it's not is it bouncing off the things that he's seeing? Okay, I see. So it's like one eye emits X-rays, the other eye absorbs them.
Well, then he wouldn't be able to see in depth. They can do both, because, why not? Okay, here's a question for you. If Superman actually did need glasses, sort of thing, because, Clark Kent's glasses are fake. If he actually did need glasses, picture this. How would he get the surgery? He's been hit by enough lasers that just don't hurt him. I don't think a laser eye surgery could do a dang thing for him.
What? Oh, okay, what about...
what if it turns out, you hit him in the eye with
laser made with Krypton? So technically that could... Okay, there's a huge chance for...
He's got a shard of rock in his eye, then. That's, technically, poisonous.
No. It's not the shard of rock. It's a laser that's focused through a kryptonite crystal.
We'll call this a laser.
You could totally bullshit your way through that. It's like a kryptonite laser. Have they done that yet? How have they not done that yet? That sounds like
we'll call it the Kaiser, though. The Kryptonian amplified.
Or the Crazer.
Yeah.
Crazer. Okay, yeah, that sounds like you could put a whole villain around that. That's the Crazer.
Nice.
But it'd be like what? It'd be like then synchronized and amplified Kryptonian radiation.
Yeah, something like that. So I mean,
cancer beam. You don't have a laser for Superman. You have a cancer beam for Superman.
Yeah, don't aim it at any humans, otherwise they'll just instantly implode.
Actually, no.
Point it away from him, he'll get better. He always gets better. He's Superman.
Yeah.
What's the worst you're going to do? Kill him? That hasn't kept him down before.
Okay. Well, here's 2 things. One, you won't get vaporized by this Crazer sort of thing. But it has been proven, when Lex Luthor had a kryptonite ring sort of thing he wore over, he did get radiation. He did get cancer from it.
Yeah.
So yeah, eventually it'll get you, even if you won't blow up from it, but it'll get you, same as like any other radioactive source. And 2, Superman has gotten cancer. They shrunk a bunch of Superman-related heroes down to tiny size, and they fought the Kryptonian cancer. I don't know if that was technically canon, but it totally happened, and it was in the comics, so I'm counting it.
Huh.
I wish I picked up the issues, because it's so deliciously Silver Age crazy.
Have they never had a scalpel made of Krypton? Kryptonite?
Probably.
Scalpel?
I do recall in the cartoons there was a thing where Supergirl needed to go under the knife, sort of thing, because of injuries. Turns out super healing doesn't automatically mean super, fix everything up perfectly, so...
Yeah,
it's a thing.
I suppose your body still needs some sort of guide of how to fix it up. If that gets broken,
fix that green bone fracture sort of thing. But she had to get some. They had to take her to like proper laboratory stuff, because it's not just like any hospital in Metropolis. So that, and they also have weapons grade kryptonite. So if you got weapons grade kryptonite for like a kryptonite fueled missile, I'm gonna say you probably have a kryptonite scalpel somewhere.
Well, what about the different types of kryptonite? There's got to be one, like, what... I don't even know what they all do.
You want to hit Superman with, like, a red kryptonite laser?
What's that one do?
Each one is slightly different due to its unstable effects. It gives Superman something different and crazy for about 48 hours, and then he is forever immune to it.
Really? I didn't know he was immune to it afterwards.
Well, just that one particular, like, radiation wavelength of red kryptonite.
Okay.
So it can turn him into like a giant bronze colossus. 2 days later, he's back to normal. Nothing else happens.
It's basically their catch-all MacGuffin for we need some crap to happen to Superman. What we want to do? Let's make him go crazy and just start breaking shit up.
Turn his skin red. Give him a forked tail and a pair of horns. He will have to be the super devil for 48 hours. Yes, that happened. I am not making that one up.
Oh boy.
On the other hand, in the more recent continuities, one of the bits of kryptonite that he gave to Batman had, I bombarded it with radiation, now it turned red. It turned his skin invisible.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
And then he got overpowered from the sunlight.
Yeah, it turns out the skin is actually not what Superman, absorbs the sunlight with. That's just a block for the sunlight radiation. Without the skin, everything overpowers, so he's got his hands in front of his face because, lasers just won't stop. And it doesn't matter that his hands are in front of it because the X-ray just won't stop as soon as he's, not X-raying everybody. It was pretty bad.
But it's also how he can see through his hands to keep walking around with his hands in front of his eyes.
He wasn't doing a lot of walking, honestly. He was pretty much... Every time he breathed, he was causing windstorms in the tower.
Oh, boy.
Everything was like, okay, Superman level up.
Why couldn't Superman just use a mirror to operate on his eyes?
Because he's not a doctor.
Okay, you know what? He's probably going to be around for a while, so if his sight starts going, he should be like, okay, maybe I'm going to switch from reporter to doctor now, and just get the expertise he needs.
Also, couldn't he just have a doctor friend sort of sit in and walk him through it?
That would be some serious negatives to your assist another check if you were to do that.
I mean, the malpractice lawsuits alone, that doctor is not staying on with the board at all. It doesn't matter if it's Superman.
Just do it in secret.
Keep one of the super doctors, like Dr. Strange or something.
They do have a Mr. Terrific. He's got 12 degrees, 12 PhD degrees. Maybe he could devise something that, because he's...
What about magic? Superman's always been sort of susceptible to magic. Wouldn't it be like a magic fix Superman's eyes spell? Again, Doctor Strange, I think is his regular position.
Doctor Strange is in the other universe.
Ah, damn.
Ha-ha!
I can never keep those straight.
That's okay, just put them in the...
Is Doctor Strange like an actual doctor, or Dr. Fate an actual doctor, though? Because I know Doctor Strange used to be a doctor, and he's like, hey, I'm going to do magic instead.
Well, that's the thing, is he got into an accident, and he could no longer do the fine control of his hands needed for the delicate surgery, so I might as well go to Tibet and learn how to do other stuff. Hey, Sorcerer Supreme. There's not a lot of competition for it, apparently. But no, Dr. Fate is an interesting thing whereby it doesn't matter who is donning the headpiece of Dr. Fate. You will never be Dr. Fate. Once the headpiece goes on, the magical, Lord of Order, Nabu, takes over. You are just along for... If you're lucky, you might be able to see through your own eyes, but you are just the vessel for him. Naboo
cool.
is not a doctor, so no, you're not. You don't get nothing.
Okay, well, it's not quite so good, but still, I think magic. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. Yeah. I like the Flash because he only has one superpower, and he needs to be creative about it.
It is a little easier to coordinate stuff with that, because how much longer we spend talking about what happens with Superman? No, you will need to get a little laser eye surgery on the Flash. You just tell him to hold still and don't dodge the laser.
Yep, done. Don't be fast for a little bit. Okay, we're good.
There you go.
Or you can do other things, just as long as you come back in between wavelengths of the laser that hits you in between.
I think that's grossly horrible for the Flash. Like, he, partially, okay, now I gotta go save the day sort of thing. And then I get back, in the meantime, he's just like pirate eye patch running around.
Could be a hazard, yes.
Although,
a super speed guy with no vision, yes.
Although he does have a required secondary power of healing fast, so the laser might have to be a little extra strong for him. So they might have to
Wait, why does he get fast healing?
Metabolism sped up, and he gets hit by a lot of stuff. The basic frictional forces and just air pressure against him means if he was to run anywhere at the speed he does, he would show up like a mass of bruise and welts.
Yeah, that makes
sense. Especially if a bug hits him along the way. Just
that's always how it seems to work with a lot of superpowers. You can have one superpower, and the rest of them seem to be along for the ride to keep you from killing yourself with that superpower. You can have flight, but you should probably also have maybe some super tough skin or generate a force field so you're not covered in bugs when you get there. Birds.
But yeah, that's the thing though, is technically the Flash, at the speed he runs, if he was to hit a ladybug along the way, that hits him with the same amount of force as a bullet.
Yeah.
So there's some little things that quirk out for him. C'est la vie. Such is life.
Speed Force does it. Okay, moving on.
I hate that Speed Force. That's a worse religion than Crystal Dragon Jesus.
Oh, The Force Awakens. That's the thing.
Oh yeah,
I guess we weren't going to do news yet.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, that's a.
We've just added a new news topic.
Yes, that's right. The official now episode 7
title. We have the title for the next episode of Star Wars,
which is going to be interesting because when we left off at the end of episode 6, the Force was awake and very well active in Luke Skywalker. So what's going on now, buddy? So
yeah, was it sleeping?
Well,
I think it's going to be cool.
There wasn't going to. Well, it's owned by Disney now. Disney is not known for flubbing this stuff up. Mm-hmm. Okay, admittedly,
they flubbed up Flubber.
Well, but yeah, in just the right way. Now, I'll be the first to admit, sequels from Disney aren't always the best. The Return of Jafar was B-rate at best, and some of the other ones don't even get that high a grade. That said, I don't think this is going to count for them as a sequel, so, fresh out the box.
Yeah, fair enough.
New to them, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
a good idea. For each sequel, you need to give it to someone else. So that way it's new for them.
Well, that's why Alien and Aliens and every film in the series for the Alien stuff was so different. James Cameron only directed the second one, and that's why it was Marines versus aliens on a planet. And you know what? I kind of and you know what? I even think the Joss Whedon one, the fourth one, was not that bad. Not the best of the series, but not that bad. Because it had what's-his-face.
I'm sorry, since you said James Cameron, I've got a James Cameron song going in my head from something from South Park, and I cannot put my finger on it.
Well. That sucks to be
If we find it, we'll put it in the show notes so people can look it up.
Send it to me, too.
But yes, as for me this week, I've been getting back into Dwarf Fortress.
Cool.
Nice.
Yes. Unfortunately, since I was playing it in 2012 sort of thing, 2012 to 2014, they had version 34. And that was a nice version, woo! But he's since updated 6 major, story arc bits and components, so it's now version 40, and all my mods have to be double-checked for updated completeness.
Huh.
And it's like, all the mods I was working on, it's like, I have to double-check everything now to make sure. Because he added some nice stuff, like, it used to be that how often you attacked was not based on, I've got 10 arms, so I make, 5 attacks, 1 for every pair of arms. No. It was based off your speed. So the faster you could move, the more you could attack. Which was kind of interesting, because then you could just, so you got speed, 0 for dwarves, and then they like almost blink across the screen. They're going so fast. And they'll attack 20 times before any enemy gets a chance to do any one thing. So it's basically like short, hairy, bearded flashes for every last one of them.
Nice.
Nice. But that meant, something in the more conventional area, like a Hydra, 7 heads, rawr! No, it was really 1 attacking head and 6 ways extra to kill it by lopping off a head. No, now it bleeds to death.
Oh, jeez.
So it's kind of a worthless beast, but now he's changed up, so you can do like, I've got 7 heads. I can attack with all 7 in different directions. I can attack like 7 guys in each different direction, and I don't have to move super fast to do that. So
nice.
It's the nice things like that really make it more of a realistic simulation of fantasy. But I've been working hard to double check on my stuff. I had
So you haven't actually been playing the game, or?
I've been playing the meta scene, I suppose.
Okay, yeah.
Just last night, as I was doing all my olden-time TV watching, I managed to update and or create 7 creatures for Arctic terrains.
Okay, so you're making progress.
Very good. I have 2 creatures left to go, and I've officially got a mod done of my own for this last version.
Nice.
I'm going to get... They have fairies in good biomes, but the fairies don't exist in cold biomes. So I'm going to create like a borealis fairy, which is just, like a fairy that lives on glaciers in good aligned areas. It's just, there's still a little vermin creature that doesn't really do anything, so it's effectively just like I won't even call it a reskin. It's basically a palette swap of a conventional fairy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to create a semi-mega beast, which is, like almost like a dragon is a mega beast. So this is like Minotaur kind of level sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the Krampus.
Nice.
Oh.
If you want to see, a fat bearded man who makes a lot of toys in a cold area, you have to create a bunch of dwarves that go there and create the Santa's workshop, and you got to appoint someone the official Santa.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want a horrible beast that will steal children and drink your booze and beat you to within an inch of your life with a whip, which by the way are still overpowered. How the weapons work in the game, a whip is best visualized as a lightsaber. It's
nice.
Contact percentage. I mean, the amount of times I've seen someone whip a person's brain out of their head. Just boom. So he's going to have a natural mastery skill with a whip, because, it's going to be fun and all that. No.
Nice.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be completely immune to all stuff, so you can potentially capture the Krampus, and heck, maybe if you want, you can try killing him and, taking his fur and making a Krampus skin vest for yourself. So,
that's pretty cool.
I'm going to make sure he's not going to be tameable, though, so that way it's not like you can, domesticate the Krampus.
Okay.
On the other hand, he's not going to be a distinct thing, there's only one in the world. It's going to have to be a species sort of thing, so maybe you could capture 2 Krampuses.
Krampuses?
Actually,
I
checked that up. The plural of Krampus is Krampus with a Z at the end, so it's Krampuses.
Right, it's like Norwegian or whatever.
It's the Alpine area, so it'd be Croatia and all that sort of fun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
so
you could
Slavic kind of.
Yeah. So you could capture a pair of Krampuses. I don't know how to pronounce the S thing. Krampus.
I would say Krampus or something like
Krampus.
that.
Krampus.
Yeah,
make it
the 2 Krampus, and if they're of the right gender mix, you could have them breed. And then when the goblins siege, you just open up the right area and then just unleash the horde of Krampus.
Unleash the Krampus.
And so I mean, just from that perspective alone, I'm digging it.
That's kind of funny.
I had some fun with the interactions, because that's a new one. It used to be that, you can either breathe fire, spray webs, or that's about it. But now, dwarves have an interaction called spitting. Whenever they don't like something, they can spit at you, and that's an actual thing.
Nice.
Tears, sweat, and
various
spit
bodily fluids
are all now things they put in. So
boy.
I hate to say this, but I made a jolly snowman. Frosty the Snowman.
Nice.
And it's snow isn't in the list of material definitions. I can just call upon make him out of snow. So I'm what works around the same sort of density and style as snow? And I'm looking through the material definition file. Ooze, no. Pus, no. And it's they use high salinity ice for a lot of the definitions for spit and sweat and tears. So I'm
Blood, sweat, and tears went into making this Frosty the Snowman.
Technically, you could, if you really wanted to have a creature that is made of blood, sweat. I mean, they have a creature that's made out of blood. All you have to do is switch that out to, sweat and tears, and you can have blood, sweat, and tear monsters attacking from the depths of the world.
That's kind of funny.
But I was thinking to myself, okay, now, this is supposed to be like a jolly, happy creature that exists in enchanted good biomes. So sweat is kind of disgusting for that. I don't want a creature composed out of sweat, effectively.
Right.
Even though the stats for all of them are about the same. So then it was down to, what should I make it? Make them out of spit or make them out of tears? And then, in the end, you know what? I'm going to call them tears of joy.
Okay.
So even though, it's just like a simple body plan sort of thing. So it's 3 body parts, lower body, upper body, head, and then some arms. It's technically made completely out of tears.
Frosty the Tear Man.
Although I have made it so that upon death, the Jolly Snowman will leave behind a very high quality silk hat.
Nice.
Which is a fun thing that you can do in the game, and I've enjoyed figuring out okay, now how do I work this? What do I do with this? I can have him leave behind a hat upon death. I was thinking maybe a chunk of a coal behind, because
for the eyes
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can only really do one thing, and the hat seemed really stylish and fun.
That's good. I like that.
It's not always easy to make a nice hat out of silk, and I made it out of an evil spider biome sort of thing. So it's the evil silk hat goes into making a good, happy, jolly snowman.
Very cool.
Yeah. And all
out of tears.
Well,
this does not sound like a good creature. He's got a hat made out of evil spider silk. He's composed of
phantom spider silk, though, because I was looking at the various silk materials, and it's like phantom spider. That sounds like an enchanted hat material.
It sounds like dark magic brings some snow to life. So I'd say
maybe.
Well, I have the jolly snowman, and it wouldn't be that hard for me to make a sinister snowman for evil, tundra and evil, glacial biomes. But evil glacial biomes already have the blizzard man, who has teeth of icicles, and let's see if I'm basing the size right. Is approximately 5 times the size of a human.
Nice.
He will rip an unarmored dwarf to shreds. He will bust down doors and just completely demolish the place. That said, I mean, as with most things in Dwarf Fortress, you get yourself an axe and you have a fun time. Things like body parts just hacking off any which way.
Sweet.
So that's been my fun, and I got to do all that stuff last night as I was watching my old classic stuff, and I got in between on the commercials of watching the 1932 classic The Mummy. So it's I got to see a classic, of the Universal horror stuff. Which, by the way, The Mummy doesn't spend a lot of time as a mummy. He spends a lot of time as a creepy guy.
Yeah, he did that in the Brendan Fraser version too.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, yeah, he's not really a mummy that much, but he's cool. He's got awesome powers, so whatever.
Only real difference between a creepy old guy and a mummy is just some toilet paper.
Well, the thing is it was still him, sort of thing. And oh my, Boris Karloff had just a little bit of makeup just to get him the extra lines on there. Oof, dude, not a person you want to look too closely at. But as it turns out, Brendan Fraser's The Mummy did keep the whole concept of the mummy not being a bandage-wrapped, slow-moving, what is it, for very long. And I dig that. I have more respect for the remake with Brendan. I mean, I liked it because Brendan Fraser, he's pretty good.
I like him. Yeah.
It had good comedy, good special effects, good horror.
Did that one have a dirigible in it?
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
the original did not.
I like dirigibles. Actually, that reminds me of something I was going to say based on Minecraft and add-ons stuff, Dwarf Fortress. One thing I loved, this one add-on that worked for one version of Minecraft and no one has decided to update it, is the airship or dirigible. There were 2 of them that were really awesome. One was just a craftable airship. You needed to get some leather to make some, that bag, and then some rope, and then you needed to make some...
Like a torch, because the torch is never finished burning out, so there's your heat source forever.
Well, no, you needed a furnace, and the furnace actually took fuel, that it constantly ate up fuel. I liked that.
Okay.
You could actually, launch arrows out of it, so it could take up arrows. That's cool. You needed to create 2 motors on the side out of redstone piston stuff and then some things. And there were some new items that they had to make to craft it, but that was cool. You needed to amass a certain amount of useful materials to build this thing, and then it just...
You can't just punch a tree until you've got all the resources?
Exactly.
Okay.
So it was nice because it worked like a boat. Bloop, you got a boat, bloop, you've got an airship, and you could just sort of putter around, and if you ran out of fuel and somewhere that you didn't know, you're just going to have to mine away to find some coal or some wood or something.
Well, I was thinking of trying to find a mod that would give me a jetpack, but this airship of yours, I kind of dig that too. I might have to.
It sounds more Minecraft-y. That's what I really liked about it.
Yeah, and you sure it's not? They haven't kept it up? Or?
Last time I went back to play Minecraft, like, you know what? I want to try this out again. I'm going to do a bit some exploring, and then looked at the different add-ons that they had, and like, this one's not supported.
Oh,
I give up. I did something else. But there was another one. It was the Zeppelin mod, where you could take any assortment of connected blocks, ignoring, I think, dirt, sand, stone, or just dirt, sand, and air.
Mm.
And so it would ignore those. It would take those connected blocks and turn that into a ship. That you could move around, maneuver, turn, rotate, speed forward, stopping. Of course, it would crash the game if you actually crashed it into something. But you know what? Fair enough. Work on that later. Work on the crashing mechanics. It was really cool because you could build and design your own giant freaking airship.
Yes.
Which was super neat. Awesome. And okay, that one's a little in-depth. So fair enough. That was a one-time thing. They didn't support that. But having a flying vehicle sounds like a really cool idea, and I'm surprised they have not done more of that in Minecraft.
Yeah, I've always wanted them to do that sort of in the vanilla game so that it would be sort of guaranteed to be supported. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we can always hope. I mean, Microsoft, owns it now. Microsoft does the Flight Simulator
listening to this
series
podcast right now. So Microsoft,
pay attention. You have good ideas.
You put in you combine the all the programming you've got for your Flight Simulator and you put that into Minecraft.
Sounds like maybe a bit too much. I don't think they need to do quite that. Just make a flying boat. Flying boat that's not too easy to make.
Well, they've already got the Flight Simulator program, and it's theirs. They've been doing it for a while.
Minecraft crashes, just opens up the Flight Simulator.
Yeah.
Oh, horrible.
I've seen worse.
But
yeah, that's I believe what we've been doing this week.
Well, we didn't get to Jason.
Oh.
I
saving
think
the guest last.
Oh, okay, fine.
Save the guest for last. Okay.
That's why you're only an intern host.
Well, what have I done? Okay, recently I finished Dragon Quest VIII because I had it and I started playing it and then never really got past the first little bit. So I eventually finished it. Even finished the second time to get the good ending. And then it got to that point where you're like, you can keep going through these trials at the end of the game to get better equipment and stuff. And I'm like, well, I've already got everything in the game, so I'm really just going through these trials to get better equipment to go through these trials. Okay, done. I'm done. I got the ending. I'm done.
Welcome to World of Warcraft.
Exactly. It's the cyclical
this
grind.
This item has
a
slightly higher number than the last one.
Higher number?
Yes,
exactly.
It has a 2 higher number. Ooh.
And I already power gamed my way through it because I found a rubber band in my auto controller. I could just run around in circles and fight stuff and then go off and do some dishes or something else productive. Come back, gained a few levels, sweet. Then I don't need to slog through enemies the next time I'm going through a dungeon and just want to get through the plot.
So here's the thing, were you really playing it then?
No, not while I was letting the game play itself. And then I went back and reaped the reward. Yes, it's not pure gaming. I did not earn all of those levels, but I enjoyed it more by doing that. And you know what? That's my end game. I had more fun that way.
It's a trick question. You say, if you didn't gain those levels and it's not true gaming, then the people who are playing the next expansion to World of Warcraft that automatically get leveled to level 90 weren't playing either. So if it's okay for WoW, it's okay for you.
Yeah, sure. I didn't quite follow that.
It's the latest thing. It turns out people
don't know anything about WoW at all.
Turns out people don't want to level 95 levels just to get to the end game content.
Yeah.
So
that sounds reasonable.
Honestly, I don't mind playing the game. I kind of like doing the lower level stuff because there's not a whole bunch of people just spamming the area like, how do I do this? Why isn't this working for me? Like, just leave me alone.
I just don't like this is important. There's a plot thing going on. You need to do this. Also, so does every other million players. You're not unique. That's what I like about the offline stuff. Like, yeah, I saved the world. Me and my 3 homies saved the world. That was us. Nobody else. And yet, it still got that weird thing where at the end of it,
no one knows.
No one gives a shit. It's like, oh, you can't attend the wedding of this place because you're nobody and you don't have money. I'm like, nobody. I saved the world. And money, I've got more money than I think anyone else in this game because of my power leveling. So shut the hell up, man.
I've done some math. The
and
amount of money...
just outclassed anyone. Like, any single character could have come up to me and I would have just... There's no feasible way that I could not have just handed their ass to them.
I've done the math. The amount of gold I have, should it all be combined together in one spot, will affect the direction of gravity for most people.
Exactly.
It qualifies as a fraction of the moon's mass. I don't know how I got this much gold, but I got it. I'm going to make it rain, and by that I mean drop it on you from orbit and leave you as a crater. Golden
That's a lot of gold.
That's a lot of gold.
How much gold?
Gold is fairly high density, so it's got that going for it, but that's still a lot of gold.
Welcome to level 99.
But that was a while ago I finished that, and recently, I wanted to get a Professor Layton game for the 3DS, but I realized
about it.
I hadn't played all 4 for the DS, so I got the 4th one for the DS, and I'm playing through that right now. I'm liking that. And I've also gotten back into a bunch of other games that I completely forgot about on my DS. Like, I was playing through Final Fantasy IV again, and I'm like, oh, let's pick this up again. Great, I'm outside of this cave with... I don't know what I'm doing! I don't know where the plot is supposed to be.
Picked up at a save point?
Yeah, because I'd saved, like, near the end of the game. I can go to the moon, and I think there's something around there that I have to do. But everything in that cave kills me, so I'm like, I feel like I was maybe leveling something up. And I have no idea what I was doing.
You were trying to find that magic item that cures Palom and Parma from their stone prison. It doesn't
not
exist.
Possible, man. Give it up. Give it up.
It allows me to use any item to try and unfreeze them. There must be an item.
Yeah, that was mean. That was mean.
That was the most horrible, heart-wrenching thing, having to admit. Like,
there were
I
2
can't
good characters. They did that really well. 2 good characters. They sacrificed their life, turned to stone to go ahead, use an item. Use any item that you want. It's not going to work.
Well, particularly because
they're dead.
Particularly because there was that other guy earlier on in the game. He's bedridden. Like, you can use any item. Like, oh no, this cure thing doesn't fix him. This other cure thing doesn't. You got to go find his wife, get her frying pan, and crack him over the head with a frying pan to get him out of bed, just like she used to do every day.
Yep, I like that. I like how it uses the metagame to like make the game better. It's one of the games that's done that well. The fact that it gives you this mechanic to heal them, and there's no way to heal them. It gives you that false hope. Although later on, through plot, they do get healed. But like they did in Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, like, oh, you're low on sanity? Oh, you're in a room full of mummies, and they're surrounding you. Guess what? Your controller's not plugged in. What? No, yes it is! Yes it is! No, I'm not! Oh, you never went into that room. Whoa!
Yeah.
That was some nice sanity effects.
That was good.
It's too bad that they got saddled with a game company that blew all its budget and went broke.
Yeah.
Oh. So sorry, Silicon Knights.
Oh, well.
To be fair, there's a lot of other series that wound up dying because of them, too. So It's not like you're dead alone, which, by the way, is a nice name for a game if you need to do it.
Nice.
Dead alone.
Well,
but yeah,
that's basically what I've been up to. Yep. Playing some puzzle games, mostly.
Cool. Sweet. So we talked about one news item, but
yes,
we talked about, what? Oh, Star Wars.
Yes, the new Star Wars name and all that. And still not much revealed about the plot. Or,
Yeah, so more to come. I think we liked Star Wars among all the other stuff that we talked about.
I think it's got enough pedigree to it that we should at least respect it, even if we don't like it.
A tip of the hat.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be an improvement over the prequels. But I guess that bar is low.
The third prequel was getting a lot of stuff right.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. Maybe they had to get back in the groove or something.
Which is the one where Jar Jar Binks only showed up once and they used him as a scapegoat for
Second one.
Yeah, I like that. They're like, oh, this guy sucks. Well, basically to make him an excuse for like one of the reasons the Emperor came to power. Okay.
To be fair on everything though, I did see a thing online, YouTube, where Jar Jar Binks was just talking smack about people, and my respect for him went through the roof compared to what it usually was. So I don't think if he was
I just hate that he's a blatant attempt at comic relief. Like, you don't need that. You had better comedy. The comedy you got
the
from
gay
Han
robot
Solo doing
C-3PO, he's walking around naked. Come on, the
or
joke's
just
straight
scene
from
where
himself.
Han Solo is just like, oh, gonna chase a stormtrooper. Oh, there's a ton of stormtroopers. Ha-ha! Didn't see that coming. That was funny.
That's situational humor. That doesn't sell well for toys for kids.
Yeah.
Haha.
Yeah.
But, are kids
another reason
going crazy over Jar Jar toys?
They were supposed to. They were supposed to.
That's the point. It was too blatant marketing. Like, take My Little Pony, for example. It was designed as a commercial, well, more like a series, but a commercial to sell pony toys. Mm-hmm. But the most recent iteration, they've just done it really well. Good. That's how you can sell a bunch of stuff. You don't have to say, like, hey, here's a funny thing. Buy this, guys. Like, no. Put some effort into it, man.
And welcome to getting old and cynical.
When I was my age. Okay, anyways.
When I was a young boy, we'd watch shows that were pure of content and weren't meant to advertise for toys, like G.I. Joe and He-Man and Ninja Turtles and all sorts of stuff like that, man. These were the good things.
So Blizzard.
Yes. The official bit is that Blizzard has released a new intellectual property, or IP as they call it, in the industry.
He said that you pee.
So yes, as it turns out, they got a new game, best described as Team Fortress 2 as made by Pixar. It's got superheroes, it's got robots, it's got dwarf, it's got a talking intelligent ape. I think it's probably a gorilla.
It's got a robot monk.
Yeah, it's got like a Zen robot.
So what's it called?
It is called Overwatch.
The game is Overwatch by the same people who brought us StarCraft, Warcraft, and
that basically
Diablo.
Yeah, basically stole a bunch of ideas from the Games Workshop. This time they're stealing from Valve.
Yeah,
but it's Blizzard. They put a lot of polish on their stuff to make it look beautiful, so no one complains when
they steal it and then they make it better. So it's like,
it's kind
I don't like that, but I really want to play that game.
It's a little hard to argue against them when they make a superiorly product of a
product.
Well,
superiorly
product
that
has been properly polished. It's rather hard to pronounce my P's altogether because I haven't done enough Peter Piper and his pickled peppers stuff. But I mean, the gameplay trailer looks good. The cinematic trailer looks movie quality. And I mean, I thought it was out. I thought me and Blizzard had amicably split. But I think
then they just reel you right back in.
I think Blizzard wants me to get back into a relationship with them, but I'm like, Blizzard, I'm married. I got a wife and I got a daughter now. I mean,
true. Well,
what are you doing to me?
She's pretty soon. She's going to be able to fend for herself, and so then you can get back to your gaming.
She does like playing on her mom's computer, and she has been able to start up files and do some painting, and she has been able to open the task manager and start shutting down programs. So,
wow, that is
dangerously awesome.
When I was, I must have been 8 or 9. I put the hard drive. It was a Mac, so I put the hard drive in the trash can. Was it Mac?
I think
might have been an early PC.
No, I think the Macs had them back in the day too. Still,
yeah, that didn't go over too well with my parents.
Nice.
And here's the thing, though. It lets you do that. What the heck's up with that?
Why would it even let you do that? That's a good point. It seems like a fail-safe. They'd be like, are you sure? Maybe you should type in a password or something.
I think there was an "Are you sure?" But I mean, there's an easy way around "Are you sure?" Yes, I'm sure. Don't ask me if I'm sure.
I do have the question of like with most PCs, how you can make a copy of a thing. Mm-hmm. So what if you make a copy, a shortcut to it's not garbage anymore, it's the recycling bin. What if you make a copy to the recycling bin and then move the recycling bin into the copy of the recycling bin? Ooh. Where does it go? And how badly do you melt your computer's system that way?
I think.
Yeah, I tried that. You can't do it.
Yeah,
You
nowadays.
Yeah, I think I tried that at some point. It was like, you can't move a folder into itself or something like that, and I realized, oh yeah, I've totally accidentally tried to do that before. Moving a folder into itself. It's like, nope, I'm not going to let you do that. Because it's really just a special folder. It's the recycling folder. It's still just a folder.
I'll accept it. No, the computer doesn't allow you to make it divide by 0.
Yeah.
So does Zoe, has she played any games on the either tablet or computer yet?
There's a few tap games we've tried. She doesn't really have the concentration for it yet. She's not even 2. The best she likes to do is we'll have the paint program opened up, and we'll zoom into a corner, and then move it onto the spray paint, and she can change the colors by pushing stuff up in the top corner, and then just scribbling on the touch screen of my wife's computer and changing out. She makes some beautiful little things. That's about as much as she's got is freeform.
I remember I loved playing around with Microsoft Paint. This is like when I was 16 or something, just because there was no other good program
Solitaire
on the computer. Yeah, and it was kind of fun just making random stuff in Paint. Heck, I remember one time you and I, Ryan, you just I was bored and hey, let's go to the computer and make something in Microsoft Paint. We made a purple and green brick house or something. And
got you to stop being bored.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I'm a good big brother.
You are a very good big brother. Yes, you are. You're that thing.
I am so good, you don't even fault me for messing up with your language skills when you were young. Ho ho!
That explains a lot.
Yes.
But
still that good.
Back to that game that watched.
Overwatch.
Yes. Yeah. When I saw it, my immediate, my eventual reaction is that it's basically it looks. No, it's actually pretty much a direct clone of Team Fortress 2, but it looks like combined with League of Legends a bit. Or maybe we've got different unique characters with unique powers.
Maybe one of the Justice League fighting games.
Yeah, something like that. But I like that they did put character development into it, because that's what I liked about Team Fortress 2 is each of the individual characters had character development to it, and it was interesting, it was compelling, and it made me want to play the game. They've done the same thing in trailers with these characters.
I remember Ben Yahtzee Croshaw on his Zero Punctuation thing lamenting how so many companies make everyone in big power armor and they all look identical, when why is it that only Team Fortress 2 and Valve has the ability to create different characters that look different? And I think he might have to revise that statement now, because each character was very distinctive. You could put them in a silhouette and tell which one was which.
Exactly.
Once you've got a list of their names, right? So, okay. Yeah. This is still new stuff, man. Beta's not out till next year. But that said, I'm gonna cross my fingers and knock on wood. Blizzard is making a movie for the World of Warcraft stuff. It's been a long time in the coming. They managed to laugh a few bad, my directors out of office. But it's in the production. It's going out there. And since now they've got that Hollywood connection, I'm kind of hoping something like this, because the cinematic trailer was indeed movie quality. I would not mind. I would pay full price for a ticket to go see this as a movie if and when it comes out.
Yeah, seriously, if Ryan hadn't told me this is a trailer for a game, I would have said, "Wow, when's that coming out? I want to go see that."
I want to see it when it hits the theater.
Incredibles 3?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it works so beautifully, and it's if I was a man in Hollywood and I was hey, isn't Blizzard working with it? And I saw this trailer, I'd say, dude, we got to do this into a movie. Yeah. Avengers is making $1 billion. They got more of that planned out. This has been proven. You can make a lot of money off a good quality program with some decent
and if
characters.
They've already got the game coming out. The game takes a lot of,
getting
tweaking
the physics
to get the physics right, to get the gameplay
into the beta. Then they've
right.
got to figure out how much damage does this do. Too much damage. Does this do not enough? How quickly should this refresh?
But if they've already got the characters sort of thought out, and if they could put out a movie. And that would end up hyping up the game. I could see a lot of people watching the movie and going, "Wow, that was a great movie. Wait, I can play that?" Like, that's a game?
I love that character, Tracer. She was just such a spunky young, go get him hero. I can play her.
Yeah, go ahead, play him. Yeah, that would be brilliant. That would be genius.
I can kill other people as her. Ooh, I think I'll do that. I get to listen to her wonderful British accent make smart comments.
Yeah, it was an adorable accent.
So I mean,
I wouldn't even be surprised if that's what they're planning on doing.
And it's got a gorilla. I mean, what's not to love, man? I mean, movies do better with gorillas, right?
No, yeah. Gorillas are pretty good.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's a talking gorilla who's wonderful little spectacles.
Yeah, gorilla in spectacles. I feel like I've seen that before.
Probably a couple times. But you know what? I don't care. It's not like somebody's got a patent on gorillas and spectacles.
That's true. And I suppose most gorillas that I see aren't wearing spectacles, so there's that.
Well, that's how you know he's an intelligent gorilla. He's wearing a wonderful, not just, he's got, like shades on, like the kind of shades you see someone who, snowboards down a mountain, something that's, really dent resistant.
Kong.
Yeah, nothing like that. This is, these are the spectacles of a person who puts them on delicately as he's about to do some good reading, maybe while sipping some tea.
And then when he doesn't have his glasses on, that's how you know he's going berserk.
Or
that's one of the things that he does.
Or he, is getting, beaten up and the glasses fly off him. Because they're not, attached,
There's got to be a trope, though. Wearing glasses and not wearing glasses as a symbol. Like, Superman is that's the difference between Superman and Clark Kent. There's 2 or 3 other characters that I can think of where that happens. Well, one character in 8-bit theater where, monocle means he's alright. Not the monocle means he's a berserker. Should be a kill.
Although I will say there are some other things that Superman does to change his identity from Clark Kent, whereupon it doesn't translate well on the written page.
Yeah, blah, 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 super hypnotism.
No. Superman speaks with a bass, whereas Clark Kent is more of a baritone. Clark Kent slouches. Superman has the full chest out broad. And it's kind of hard to tell the difference in height when one of the two people is always flying around.
Yeah, that's a good point.
A lot of people assume Superman is something like 6.5 feet tall. He's like maybe 6'1", but he's always flying up, so he always appears bigger. Clark Kent.
Besides, he's Superman. You'd expect him to be big.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is just everyone, imagines him, a little bit bigger and more because Superman.
I wonder too, though. Couldn't he change the shape of the bones in his face or something like that?
Silver Age, he has done that before. It hurts to change the bones in your face.
Guess it would.
How? What? How would he do that? Just
well,
punching himself in the face?
Oh, you have muscles in your face technically, so you could squeeze your face really hard,
he's been making a face all day when he's Clark Kent. Yeah. That would be uncomfortable and annoying.
But he's Superman. He can do it.
He can do it, yeah.
You're both right. I do remember a Silver Age story where he has to disguise himself up as an alien, and he does push his face into an alien shape. Because he's Silver Age Superman, the only person that can hurt us is him when he's trying to disguise himself, and he...
Does he use his hands? Or?
Yes, he uses his hands and scrunches up his face.
Okay.
And so, you're both right.
Wow.
There's a reason why you don't see it in the modern age. It's creepy, and it's too much, dude. It's too much.
No, too much for Superman.
Although there was the story where he goes on to into a different stellar system under a blue sun. And
what did that do?
Extra powers.
Right.
It started off with Bizarro going underneath of the blue sun, and he gains extra powers, and he finds a planet with his extra strength, because, red sun, no powers, yellow sun, some powers, the high energy of a blue sun. Whoa! He cuts the planet into a cube, and that's how he makes the Bizarro Earth. And he has a laser thing that he just, and then he creates a person with it. He's got Bizarro vision that makes more Bizarros. And Superman underneath the blue sun's got all sorts of other powers. Just crazy other powers. Whoa! And then he goes back home and the powers fade off because, the he needs to have that much solar radiation up there all the time to get those powers.
One joke I saw about super text, so it's text between superheroes.
Yeah, that's a good story.
Concerning Bizarro and Solomon Grundy, where Batman and Superman are texting. He's so I heard that Bizarro and Grundy were teaming up. You keeping tabs on that? And Batman's yeah. So how's that going? They've been in a warehouse for 9 days. Every time they're about to go somewhere, Bizarro says, it's time to stay now. Grundy says, okay.
And sits down again.
Superman's like, wow, their friendship may be the single most debilitating weakness that they have. I just laughed a good laugh at that. That was a good one. Whoever made that one up is a clever person.
Well, Text from Superheroes is pretty darn witty. But yes, we do have a proper main topic this week.
Yes, the main topic.
Yes, I believe, Josh, you came up with it this week.
I had a burning question that I couldn't keep in my brain, in the depth of my brain. What was it? Working for the man.
Yes.
I wanted to ask, like, a lot of our adventures in D&D and role-playing and in stories and stuff are sort of that lone wolf character or working in a chaotic environment. But we do have a fair amount of stories also where you're working for the government or,
some authority.
A kingdom, the emperor, or something bigger, something fairly large with a lot of resources. So is that, does that lead to suckier adventures? Should we always be adventuring in...
I am going to come out and say, right off the bat, is that it opens up some interesting possibilities for who you can be as a person if you're working underneath this authority. They do in the DC Comics, and I guess Associated Media, have what's called the Suicide Squad. You know how the super villains keep popping back up on the streets? How do they keep getting out? The answer is they go to Bell Rev Penitentiary, that keeps even supers under control. And then if they want to commute their service, their prison sentence, they can get community service effectively. By going on the Suicide Squad, where they act for the government, on behalf, and do stuff. And if they die, well, the government says, whatever, man, flip a double deuce at them. We don't care. You were a villain anyways.
Yeah.
Completely disposable assets. So they go into the most deadliest areas and work on behalf of the United States government. And for their action, they get commuted prison sentence time. And hey, they're back out on the street to get beaten up by Batman a month later.
That is... you know what? That answers a lot of questions that I used to have about how do they keep getting out? Because I want to run a superhero campaign with mutants and masterminds or something, but I was thinking, okay, what's a good explanation for how they keep getting out? Someone's going to ask that eventually.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that with that setup, you can have you don't have to have that as a peer style setup that way. You can have some people who are doing it on behalf of the government, knowingly, willingly, and the other half that are getting, their sentence commuted that way. And that way you can have a mix of alignments. You can have the chaotic evil person working with the lawful good. And so that is a nice workaround for why are such two different people working together? It's the person who is, paying the salary of one and is in charge of the prison sentence of the other says they have to work together for this common goal. And so in that way, it does solve the one big burning question of why are these separate people working together? And that alone is, I think, at least a decent enough answer for enough people.
And also, I suppose it's a good way to keep the chaotic evil character in line. They could say, all right, lawful good character who's under our actual employ, if they start doing some evil shit, kill them. You have the right to do that. And since they're the good person, they're not going to abuse that, probably.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, of course, there's going to be some people who might abuse the power. Some people might try to find ways around that as the villains. But actually is... That's
a chaotic evil person. Go get me some beer. Oh, don't like it? I got bullets. Your name on them.
No, that's all right. Here you go. Shakes it up.
Open it up yourself. Go over there. Come on. Handgun says do it. And that's when you lose your lawful good status.
Yep.
You hit chaotic good instead.
So they need to choose the right person to be the warden of the chaotic evil character.
Or you could always work it in the penitentiary style, in that the reason why it's called a penitentiary is you're supposed to be penitent. Mm-hmm. Turns out it doesn't work when you've got more people unpenitent than penitent. So the current crowding in modern prisons is a serious detriment to a penitentiary, as its name suggests. In which case, if you have one person wanting to play, the game who wants to be evil, everyone else is good, you have this set up for it's their, on loan from the prison system. In which case, it's like we're hoping that with all these people around to showing what a good person you can be, and there are some villainous characters who would, I think, thrive under proper hero tutelage. Mm-hmm. Harley Quinn, I think, is a nice example
I love
of
Harley
a
Quinn.
villain
She's great.
who can be conceptually redeemed by virtue of the fact that it's like, you know what, you can do this if you don't have to go on and get your crazy mad on with the Joker. Like Batman's kind of insane too. Why don't you kind of fall for him and just wind up becoming the next Robin?
That could, totally work. That could really totally work.
From the perspective of Amanda the Waller, I mean, I can totally see her doing that. Being like a mother figure, like, hey, you are not a horribly evil person, Harley Quinn. Just, I'll just put you around some good people, and we will hope that you get at least semi-reformed enough to not have to go to jail anymore.
She's on kind of good terms with Batman in at least a few of the continuities.
I'm pretty sure he's not willing to hit her right off the bat when he sees her.
Yeah, exactly.
He sees the Joker, he's ready to take a shot right to the nose. He's gonna start popping Joker teeth out as soon as he can.
Yep.
Harley Quinn is like, what's going on, Harleen? So she's at least got that going for her.
She's not shoot on sight. Well, there's a plus.
Do not pop in the face on sight. Nice.
I mean, there are some villains that you just don't let to speak out.
Do you remember that scene in Star Wars where they walk into the room and Darth Vader's there, and it's like
that would be on the gas planet.
Yeah, on the planet Bespin, and Han Solo, the door opens and he catches half a second. He sees Vader and his blaster's out and he's blasting. I always picture that when heroes and villains sort of meet, and the hero isn't immediately guns.
Well, mind you, Han Solo is not the Superman
first.
level.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah. Second, he's got reflex enough. He shoots first. It doesn't matter if the other person is Darth Vader and has it coming. Han's got enough reflexes. He shoots first. Yeah. He's got the feet. It allows him. It's the feet that is called hand shot first. So there you go.
I like that. You know what? I actually had a campaign where that kind of happened, where one of the, not the main villain, but one the sort of sub-villains, the villain that they're currently after right now, or the person who's antagonizing them, starts going in this big old rant of blah, 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 I'm evil, and I'm going to send you guys to the dungeon, there's nothing you can... And Phil is just alright, take out an arrow, shoot him in the head. Just right in the middle of his own court. Yeah, no, I'm going to shoot him right in the head. You know what? I just don't like this guy. And it just with his character's backstory, it's you know what? Yeah, this would set off a number of your triggers. Fair enough, roll it. Natural 20. Okay, confirm it. Natural 20. All right, you know what? The jester was between you and him. You pin the jester's hat right to his skull as you impale it into the throne, and he is dead. And actually, the way the plot worked out, that actually worked out super well. It's oh, wow, you just kind of killed that guy. That's great.
And that's why you shouldn't let the heroes bring their weapons into your court. Unless you don't trust your own court people.
Also, I do suggest the amusement park...
He had the whole overconfident thing going for him.
I do suggest the amusement park style, whereby as they're beating up villains, henchmen and all that, the mooks... over an intercom system or someplace where they cannot be gotten, the evil monologue is given in part here, there, in the end.
Oh yeah, if you got to be clever about your evil monologuing. You let that shit go out of control. That's just asking for being defeated.
It's just asking for an arrow to the face with your own jester's hat in it.
Exactly.
So know. Oh, by the way, did the jester come back from the dead? Did you once?
Oh no! The jester was fine. It just took the hat off of the jester's head. Turns out the jester was actually the guy's brother, who was the rightful heir to the throne, and so that all actually worked out.
I support democracy. I shoot the jester too.
Hooray! Neutral character.
I'm a lawful neutral character. That's why I believe in the democracy. Anyone else claiming this throne? Okay. Let's get some people out, some parties, and let's start voting.
Woo, parties! Yeah. That's kind of funny.
Ha-ha! And that's why I shouldn't be allowed to have too many ranged weapons in a game.
So that's one reason why it's cool to
I think it does allow for those normal problems to just get ironed out when you're working for the man.
Yeah.
other times it does give you a bit of an interesting leeway in, like, I guess your moral, personal morals. Like, oh, you know, I'm that kind of uptight person, but you know what? I'm working for, you know, the government. The government, you know, of this place says I am allowed to shoot anyone who looks like they might wind up, you know, we'll say suicide bomber. I'm allowed to shoot anyone in the head who looks like a suicide bomber. In which case, I don't like it, but you know what? I am under orders, and I'm a lawful character, so, see you, blam. I got X-ray vision, and I can see the dynamite, boom, headshot.
Is that what you want out of your heroes? You want them to be free of what?
I want the
consequences?
I want the ethical quandary of doing what you are told versus doing what you believe in.
Lawful good. Yep.
The government told me I'm supposed to cap, you know, everyone who's looking like this, so I'm capping all these. Yeah.
And you just
it says lawful, but is it good?
What was the ethical quandary? Like
you don't want to. You don't want to do that.
The way you're saying this, like you're in a character who's like, oh goody, I get to shoot all these people.
Well, that might work for some characters.
I guess so, yeah.
Lawful neutral. Okay.
They're license to kill.
They are paying for my bullets. I don't see why this semi-auto should be anything other than full.
Lawful evil. Let's see. How can I prove that person was deserving it? Got it.
And then you just walk around with like so many bags of like cocaine in your pocket and just toss one down onto the corpse. And congratulations, you have now become some police in towns and cities on which I shall not name.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds villainous. Sounds bad. Sounds like a character I would not want to have a part in. Although maybe I should expand my horizons. I don't know.
You know, it's for an example of one of the campaigns where you're not working for the man.
The freelance stuff is harsher.
The jerks campaign amongst my players because they're all huge jerks. They're basically evil. It started out by me saying, "All right, you guys." Make your characters. I'll find out what was the best world and then plot to work around those characters. Mm-hmm. So one of my characters wanted to play an evil, manipulative, like enchantress. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Another one wanted to play an evil necromancer. Another one wanted to play an evil scion, and they all sort of took leadership feats, or they were planning on it later, where the enchantress would have a bunch of people under her mind control, and the necromancer would have an undead army. And here's the best part. They were all planning this like stuff out levels in advance, where the necromancer was like, oh, wait, because the scion was a mind thrall, which meant that he just had a bunch of people that he's mind controlled, that he can tell them to do anything. So he could even say, all right, all of you, kill yourselves. Okay, well, necromancer, there's your army. I'll get mine again tomorrow. So he could use his followers as fodder for the undead army.
Now here's the thing: you put all three of them in an apartment, and you have to have them live together. Bam!
That's
you just created a sitcom.
Nice. But so basically, their plans were eventually, well, we're just going to take over the world.
Yeah, and then they'll fight each other.
Necromancer, I told you not to put the corpses in the fridge anymore, but they stink if I leave them in the cupboards. See, come on, like you guys would not
I would
pay
watch
attention
that.
to that.
I would watch that. I would definitely watch that.
You'd watch that as a YouTube series, definitely.
But actually worked out well for team dynamics because the enchantress was like, I'm going to be in charge. Necromancer's like, okay, I get my undead army, right? Yep, okay, cool. And Mindthal was like, I get to dick around in people's heads, right? Yeah, okay, cool. The other two didn't really want to rule anything. They just wanted to have a bunch of stuff to ruin stuff with. And they are also planning a giant flying fortress with a bunch of undead chained from it so they could just swoop low over a town, decimate it, and
swing low on Holy Chariot.
Exactly.
Actually, wouldn't that make the enchantress then, that one character, sort of the man in that case?
Yes, but also she was planning on having a scapegoat. But yes, she would eventually, the whole point was she wanted to be the man, eventually. So then I had to come up with a plot. Okay, so I need to make these guys the slightly better of two evils. What's going to be worse than them? And then force them into fighting it. So basically, I had a plot going on there.
Living
kind of cool, allowing them to be free and villainous. Like, okay, you guys go ahead, try to take over the world. I let them power game as much as I wanted to, because I just you know what? I'm going to let you guys power game, and I'm going to see what I can do to make that necessary. You become as powerful as you want. I'm going to make it necessary for you to have done that to even survive. Unfortunately, we didn't get that far before stuff fell apart, because it was so important to have each of the characters there, because they were all very vested in what was going to happen, that if someone couldn't show up, that character's not there, would just sort of ruin what was going on, which is actually kind of nice for working for a guild. Then you can just have people not show up. Why aren't they there? They're working on a different guild thing. Working for the man can kind of work out that way, too.
Yeah, I've been in a campaign like that, where, we were guild members, I guess.
Operatives, special operative force.
It's okay, here's your mission, here's what you're doing this week, or...
And provided everyone shows up, that's the people on there. The downside to that, though, is that you have to create the adventures small and contained enough that they get done by the end of the session.
Yeah, that's true.
Otherwise, you run into the same problem of where did he go halfway through the mission? And say, I don't know, bathroom break. Because I have the thing: you don't show up, your character gets the runs.
We came up with teleportation cubes and whatever. The guild at a certain point gives you teleportation cubes for recalling you for other missions if they deem that you're more useful on another mission than the one you're currently on, and usually they'll replace you with someone. Maybe they figure you're powerful enough to do this without that one guy along. So, hey, why isn't Phil's character here? Oh, he got called away. Boop, he's gone. Oh, but Megan's character's here now. Whoop. So it kind of worked out within the high magic setting that we were in.
Yeah, sure.
But it definitely... You know what? It's difficult to have a coherent plot going on when you just sort of have a bunch of disjointed, here's a mission, here's a mission, here's a mission, here's a mission.
Yeah, and it's also, you're working for somebody else's, I don't know...
Someone else's
vision,
goals.
Somebody else's goals, what they're trying to... and you're doing you're adding little pieces to this puzzle that, I don't know, somebody else is thinking about the big picture. Yeah. And that's why I'm thinking it's more rewarding to be your own group and to be going after your own rewards rather than necessarily working for, a larger organization.
Yeah. Although working for the organization can give you a decent focus for your group, in which case, you're working for a thieves guild, chances are a full plate male fighter isn't going to have a lot of work to do there. So if you start off hey, I want to do a thieves guild campaign, can you guys create appropriate stuff? 5th edition is easier than ever. I mean, with the background stuff to get the proper sneak and peek stuff scales, I mean, you can be any class.
Okay.
So it's a little easier than it has been historically. But, working for, this is, we're working for the church, so, paladins, clerics, and I suppose if it's the right
maybe
one.
Some mercenaries. Maybe just need someone hired for it. It depends on how loosey-goosey the church is.
Well, and also how severe if they have a crisis or something, they'll be okay, we need, we're desperate, we need just a group.
We need hired swords.
We will paint the holy symbol on your shield for free.
Nice. I think it just depends on what campaign you want. It can be more convenient working for a guild, but if you get a bunch of characters that they want to do something free and they want to go and do their own stuff, and then you railroad them into no, you're working for this group now, it's just going to fall apart. They're just going to be nope, I'm chaotic evil, and then leave, and then it just won't work.
Chaotic evil. You poison the booze and then you leave. But only a third of the food.
So I think this is kind of the default assumption of a D&D game is that the characters are sort of mercenaries. They're working for hire. They might work for a while.
They might save the princess sort of thing.
Or a kingdom or a guild or a church. But ultimately, they sort of move on and they do their own thing and work for other people.
Or just loot stuff for themselves.
I think there's one default. I wouldn't call that the default.
Okay,
I feel like you can either go, you're mercenaries, or you can have an overarching plot that has the characters, important in that plot. Which is, I love campaigns when we can get that going, when it's important to have this character there because their character's important in this plot development, but then it just makes it so damn difficult if that person doesn't show up, which is sometimes difficult for your group. So I would love to do something like that, but we've just never had the player turnout to really make that feasible, not reliably.
Although I will note, Sergio Aragonés's classic 10-year masterwork, Gru the Wanderer, was very piecemeal. Like this, it might be like a 3-story arc, over 3 issues, but most of them were self-contained. The secondary characters kept popping in again every once in a while, but basically it was just the brain dead, cheese dip loving Gru the Barbarian and his dog. Wandering the land, picking up jobs and just trying to find a way to eat, sleep, and be merry and slay things in a fray whenever they could. And I mean the background changed, but they stayed the same. So as long as you can maintain the party cohesiveness of these are the people they are, and then the background can change almost as much as you want, and it'll still wind up being okay. Because I mean, as like they say in the whole series, they made the same joke 120 times, and then they decided to move on to another company. That's basically it. And Gru goes to an area, tries to do some good help, winds up damaging everyone, somehow, in circumstances that completely relate to his brain-dead, cheese-dip-loving ways. Repeat again next month.
Nice.
But there's always a decent moral at the end, so I suppose as long as you can get a moral about why the stupid thing happened as it did, and why
the thing is, it wasn't always just him doing stupid stuff. A lot of it revolved around other people's greed or stupidity or stuff that, Gru's part in it was a large part, but it all could have been averted by this one person not being as greedy, this one person not being so stupid. And these two people communicated.
We'll say the other stupid was pretty much all Gru.
Gru took care of all the stupid, yeah.
But even the gods had a hard time directing him properly. As per a 5-issue arc, I remember. It was very nicely done. Beautifully illustrated. Well, Sergio Aragonés, of course, it's beautiful illustration. I mean, it was Stan Takai, the guy who did Usagi Yojimbo, doing the art colors. Oh, magnificent.
Nice. I saw a Gru versus Conan comic in a comic shop it looked pretty good. It was all Gru style, but with Conan drawn in Conan style.
Well, that'd be very hard on the brain to...
It was a little hard to visually parse, but that was kind of cool.
All right, I think maybe we can find the virtues of working for the man best explored by looking at the reverse, working against the man, like in a Robin Hood style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Look at all the downsides that Robin Hood had. He was not really free to travel. He had to sneak everywhere. He was not able to sleep in his castle, not able to sleep at the inn. He had to sleep out in the woods. So he did not have those wonderful luxuries of the medieval age. And when you don't have those luxuries, oh boy, you're down on your luck. I mean, sure, he was fighting the good fight, but and there was probably enough peasants, that he was given money to that he didn't have to really worry about them ratting on him. But he just didn't have those granted freedoms of movement and luxury.
Yeah, so is it like a temptation, I guess? Because, as a player, I kind of prefer, I want my character to suffer. I want him to be that Robin Hood, and win through, all that.
You gotta have a challenge. In that setting, you've got limitations. Limitations create challenges, and challenges make a game. If there's no challenge, it's not a game. But it also gives you a clear goal. Your goal is overthrow the man. This is the man that you are currently working against, because it's the man. Yeah. And so that makes your goals clearer, which is nice.
I don't know, because you can work it the other way. In a Shadowrun type setting, if you work for Mr. Johnson enough times, do a good enough job sort of thing, they might try and hire you on a permanent basis. So you're always working for the one corp. And then you get the perks and benefits of hey, you've got a sweet place to stay. Look at all the cable channels you get for free. We pay for your bullets. We pay for your medical expenses. Woo! Double, premium, platinum dock wagon contract, man. They will get you out of a firefight.
Well, that's kind of like that sort of feudalistic world. Imagine that there's
a
D&D world where you could be one country's hero, but another country's sworn enemy or something.
The Sid Meier's pirate style.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you're in your home country, you're showered with gifts and and everything, and
actually,
women and
the Birthright campaign setting is
whatever you like. Yeah,
is a nice example of that. They have the character the Gorgon. He is an elf that has killed a lot of people. He's like an evil mind, like scheming, like sets up entire dynasties just to harvest their royal blood, sort of thing. And his charisma is 8, unless you are an elf, in which case it's 18, because he's done so much for the elves and hurt so many of the other people. The elves, they're loving him, but the other people aren't so big on his horrible, evil ways. He is the monster that makes lesser monsters that challenge and destroy nations. So he is, on the one hand, I guess you can consider him the man to go up against. On the other hand, he is very much the good to one side, evil to the other perspective. But then again, I do like the moral gray zone of the Shadowrun. It doesn't matter which corp you're basically working for. All that matters is like you get like different guns if you get so close to one. You work with Ares, you are gonna get some sweet stuff. You're gonna get some stuff you can't find on the street for less than 2 million Nuyen, buddy. Would that be nice? The Panther Assault Cannon, I want it so bad.
But for some reason, like that free stuff, I don't know. It has a bad taste in my mouth. Maybe this is just my personality or whatever.
You are the chaotic good, man.
Maybe.
You want the free stuff. You want the freedom, not the free stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm okay with being a kept man, so long as I get the good stuff.
So long as you're kept well.
Yes.
Yeah, again, I think it just depends on your players or their characters. I mean, each player can play a different type of character, but the people have sort of their wheelhouse they tend to stay in. So it depends on what works best for your players, I think. One advantage to working in a guild setting, though, is we found that it's really, really nice and a lot easier to use disposable or consumable goods. Nearly no one ever spent money on potions or tanglefoot bags.
To be fair, in 3rd edition, it was much more cost-effective to get yourself a wand. And so long as there's someone who can cast the spell, the wand was like 17.5 gold for a Cure Light Wounds as opposed to 50 for a single potion.
Oh yeah, no, definitely wands are a good idea, but still the small consumable things that cost a little bit more than you really wanted to spend, no one really used those. So when we were in a guild, we were given a certain amount, a certain gold amount for just stuff to buy for that mission that you could use up, and we found that it definitely had a different dynamic for, we would actually think, well, how about some Tanglefoot bags? How about some Alchemist Spires? How about some potions? How about some of these consumable stuffs that we normally would just see as wasting money because you don't get that continual bonus forever. And they're not quite powerful enough to really sacrifice that money for.
Now, here's the thing. I work it from the other perspective. It's like, well, it's a Cure Light Wounds potion. I only get to use it once. It cost me 50 gold. But if I was to create a magic item that would grant me a Cure Light Wounds spell effectively once per day, and would make it like a crystalline, vial or something, you pour water into it once a day, it turns into a healing potion. And hey, all of a sudden I've created a whole new line of magic items. So I use it as the mother of invention. It's like, I want it, and I'm okay with the temporary thing, but I don't want to lose it forever, even if it's like a useless, little, only 1 day plus 1 hit points. But, I just pile up 2 or 3 of those sort of things. I can, back into the fight,
You created a flask of healing?
We made belts of healing was in one of the books, where you could use 4 charges. Each one would give you, one charge would give you 1d8 healing, 2 charges would give you, scaled some weird way. But basically, if you had 3 of these belts and you just swapped them out once one was empty, between battles, it was wow, and they were replenished each day. You know what? They were fairly expensive, but they were super cost-effective. I really like what you did with the double-ended weapons.
Oh, yes, I was quite happy with that myself. And I am still looking to see how I can balance it out in 5th edition. Just because a good idea is a good idea.
The one thing I realized would be the best weapon ever. You could make sword chucks.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
The rules I made up worked for that. Yeah.
You could, but even better.
Okay.
Spear chucks. So useless.
Yeah.
Piercing weapon
No.
It just doesn't work.
It does work. There is some martial weapons from the East where it is effectively
like a thresher, like a.
You can kind of do that, but it's just like swinging a piercing weapon just doesn't work. So having it as a chuck.
But no, I've actually seen it before.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, if you find the last Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there was a character, it was like a dagger on the end of a chain sort of thing. Yeah, and he swings it around
Spear.
Well, it was, daggers on the end of a chain. It's basically a spear, chuck sort of thing. But he was swinging it around in the circle to get the momentum, and then swings it around, and out it goes. And
he shoots it like in a straight line.
Get over here!
Okay.
Kind of, yeah. It's sort of thing. He was basically a different version of Whiplash, because they already used him in the second Iron Man movie. So it was a non-powered version of him as an assassin sort of thing. And so, you can have a piercing weapon under a flexible mid-shaft sort of thing. It just takes a little swing and a go.
Yeah, but that's tweaking it so that it's a dagger on a long rope. Mm-hmm. But I'm talking about two spears with a short chain. Most useless weapon.
But
I still want to create a character that uses sword chuck.
Unless you're harvesting grain or something, then you might be able to use the chain. I think that's what nunchucks came from. That you harvest grain with them or something. So
I did not know that.
Well, not harvesting that way. You beat it the same way you would beat the tar out of wheat just to break everything up.
Okay, so it's like a
yeah. But the rules I had created was that you don't take the entire part of the weapon, you just get part of it sort of thing. So actually a double-ended spear with a length of chain in the center is a viable work, even if it is ridiculous. But that's okay, because part of it for the rules I made was about being ridiculous. So,
it was fun.
Okay, so I think there are some genres that really, though, when it comes to working for the man or against the man, don't work the same way. Like a Western-style thing, you have the concept of the drifter who comes into town, runs the bad guys out, and then just keeps on going. That's like a Western theme.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so in which case you are not really working for the man, you're working on your own thing, and I mean no one's paying for the feed for your horse, no one's paying for your whiskey at the saloon.
So by the end you'll probably get some, kickback from the Grateful Town folks.
No.
Maybe.
No, you don't, because you ride off into the sunset. Walk off if your horse does.
Yeah.
Because you got to keep on moving, because that's the trope of the Western wanderer.
Mm-hmm.
So in which case, working for the man, I mean, you could do that as like a Wyatt Earp.
But isn't he's atoning for something?
Or maybe he just doesn't want to settle down. He's got skills too good, and he knows if he stays anywhere too long. That's the thing that they do for the riflemen, is that there's always people coming to challenge John McCain, because he's if you see how fast he's, go Google up, a bit on the rifleman. He is able to fire off bullets in a 1880s setting that is pretty darn good even for today's standards. And so there's always someone coming willing to, I heard John McCain was a fast draw, and I'm going to prove myself. So he stays in the one area, and it costs him. People are dying all the freaking time there because someone's trying to force him out into a challenge. Oh no, they abduct his kids or thing to make him come out and do the whole thing, and people die. He's a cattle rancher, but he really should be a mortician, because the amount of people he's putting into boxes of pine, he could have retired. But that's why the wanderer keeps wandering in those tropes, is his skills are too good. If he stays in a spot too long, he will attract people trying to one-up him and kill him. So he has to keep on going so that they can't come and get him. They have to, wander themselves, and maybe we cross paths, and then, oh boy, I get
makes it less likely, yeah.
But I do like the concept, of working for the man as a pirate privateer stuff in a high seas sort of campaign. Because how else are you going to afford your own ship, buddy? I mean, those things are not cheap. I mean, maybe if you're working under a pirate captain and you capture a ship and you convince them not to sink the other one, you get to keep it yourself, and then you leave in the middle of the night with your ship. Also, now, sucker.
It also opens up the avenues for being chaotic good for a privateer instead of a pirate. A pirate would probably be more evil. You're basically just taking other people's stuff for your own because you don't care about them.
Not completely true. A number of people on the pirate ships were on there effectively forced. It's like
gang pressed.
You either work for me now, or you sink with the ship, or we just feed you to the sharks, or do whatever we want with you. And so it's like, oh boy, my new captain. Oh boy, yeah, look at me, I'm a pirate now.
It's kind of interesting. How would you react to that as a character if you are basically overpowered by basically an evil pirate captain? Who so
you're a good character, but you have to role play, being forced to do evil stuff. That's definitely an interesting way of doing it. Yes, there's a lot of different ways.
What if the man is an evil man? And so you're on like a high seas campaign where there's no big land masses. Sure, maybe there's like an island system all over the place, but you're not going to be able to get away far enough on the island where he can't find you.
Is that really? I mean, there's one thing about players not having as much agency as I don't really have a choice of what I do. But there's also just the fact that this is just kind of a downer of a story where it's just I'm just kind of working a day-to-day, doing whatever this guy tells me to do. That's not really so fun.
If that's what it stays as, yes. But I would think that would be the goal, is to you work for this guy, you get more powerful because you're going to level up because you're doing piratey stuff, and eventually you can
getting more skilled in a non-level system.
Exactly. Yeah. Eventually you could leave the ship, maybe force a mutiny, challenge the captain, win. Back someone else who's powerful enough to challenge the captain and win. So basically assist in a mutiny. So there's definitely ways around. But if it just stayed as that, you're doing this job. That's you're working. That's what you're doing.
Working on a ship. Occasionally you have to kill someone, but it's not fun.
But here's the thing.
Entire sessions go by where you're just making swab checks.
But here's the fun thing. I mean, you could work it out if, depending on the size of the amount of people in your campaign, you could have it be where your characters continue doing what the pirate captain says, but you're doing it on such a good ethical principle stuff, you wind up either frustrating him or showing him you don't have to be that evil to get this stuff done. You can be a privateer and thus redeem him. The horrible person winds up becoming galvanized by your great work. Or it is pirate campaign in this case. Treachery's not bad. You're attacking another ship. Bye, Captain. Bam!
Yeah, so, I guess he has to give you a gun if he's ordering you to kill people.
Or, I suppose you can always slit his throat sort of thing. Oh, no, whoops.
Or a sword if there's no guns. Yeah.
Cutlass, saber, whatever you're fighting with. It's I accidentally slit your throat. Sorry about that. So, you're the new captain. I'm going to take this ship with me. We're going to call off the fight right here now. I know the people that are really evil. You want to have some fun killing them? Woo.
I just want to ask, though, how long can you get away with this as a DM? Is a group going to immediately, if you sort of corner them and say, okay, you're on this ship, and the captain, he's managed to somehow thwart your every attempt, and so you figure you're stuck on this pirate ship, and you basically have to do what he says. Are your players I guess it depends on the group, and they have to trust you as a DM, but are they going to mutiny against you as the DM, saying, hey, you can't put us, or would they trust you to be well, maybe we can figure something out? Or
you need to have your players trust you, but I think you also need to give them, you need to feed them little bits of hope every now and then to be it's not completely hopeless. So it gives them the idea that in a few sessions, maybe they can work towards something, but,
That's it. There's always something, I keep saying this, talk with the players before you start the campaign. You say, I'm going to have a high seas campaign. It's going to be filled with backstabbing and treachery and cannons, sort of thing. And,
those are cannon.
That's one way to do it.
You don't have to just slit the evil captain's throat. You can always oh, I'm the cannoneer, and there he is in my sights. Boom! Oh, he's now Captain Cannonball Head.
I guess the other major way for players to get out of this is that players are often impatient, and they'll be well, I don't care about my character that much, so he's just going to suicide. Or not suicide, but a suicide mission. I'm
just going to walk up to the captain and give him Melvin.
Try and punch him, and if my character dies, he dies because I'm not having fun. If they're not having fun, they're not having fun. But sort of there's it's hard to keep them confined in that situation.
Which is a little ironic, given that most campaigns, especially for Dungeons & Dragons, take place in confined locations. You don't see many. Another dungeon! How dare you confine it? I want to walk, completely westwards the entire time. It's a dungeon. I can make it a linear dungeon if you want, going west.
Really long dungeon
to get out of there.
I guess you could put a back end family member of theirs in the brig or something, so they can't. If they jump ship, then their family member will get killed.
Yeah,
something like that. I guess you can.
She will always remain, an imprisoned tavern wench on Pirate Isle.
Yeah, little incentives here and there to keep the players trapped, but then it does feel like railroading in a way.
Yeah, from a player's point of view, I do find it frustrating when stuff like that happens. When I'm just like, oh god, this sucks. I just want to go and wander around, adventure, and do cool things.
Yeah. What if you get
it is rewarding when you get out of that situation.
What if you do get less tangible rewards for going with the whole thing? We're in the pirate campaign. It's okay. Now, this is going to be a bit of a bad stretch here. You're going to be underneath, the yoke of a, evil captain. But you guys make it through this, and I'm going to have it come out with a way. You guys get a little prize. Each of you gets a nice little animal companion of your choice. You want a parrot? You want a monkey? Okay,
nice.
That'll be a thing. You wind up with that, And so that's a nice little. That's going to be completely free. It's not going to be against your gold piece limit for having a trained animal. But you do wind up with the thing. So yeah, I guess as soon as you guys see a druid, maybe you take that as a hint to do something about this evil action, and that way you'll know, because that's what I'm going to mark the end of it. A druid will be your key to freedom.
That's fine. Yeah, it's a little bit more of that metagamey stuff, but you might need to do that, I guess, if you wanted.
Plus, a vision. Who doesn't want an awakened parrot for a companion, right?
Well, is it worth your character sort of sacrificing some kind of morals, or is it worth your character going through horrible things? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe
depends on your character.
Yeah.
Torture over here, monkey over there.
You get tortured, and you do have to slit a couple innocent throats, but you get yourself an awakened monkey that knows how to use a crossbow. It'll be a tiny little monkey crossbow, so it won't do a lot of damage, but it'll look pretty cool.
You get an awakened monkey? So you have an awakened slave monkey? So you have a slave now?
No, we'll set things up.
You get an awakened monkey friend who's loyal to you.
So a companion.
He wants to hang out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And provided you keep him up with those
Talking
little bitty crossbow bolts for the monkey. So,
how would you do that? Would you roleplay the monkey as the DM, or just let the character roleplay them?
Or
have each character roleplay each other's pet? Because I feel like that could be very entertaining.
In which case, it's
session, yes.
In which case, then you have one person as the actual person, everyone else plays the various animal companion pets going along with.
You could have them as NPCs that, every once in a while you have a guest player come along and, we don't have a character for you. Oh, well, we do, the awakened monkey.
He's got a crossbow and he's got a tiny little wee monkey bandana.
Nice.
And a chipper little vest. He's pretty adorable. You're going to dig him. He's got a high charisma score. I think that's a nice way of saying, making a concession to the players. It's okay, this plan, I've got a nice story thing, and it's part of the plot. And it's a little dark. You might, be a little unhappy as to what happens or what you're forced to do with your character, but it's not going to permanently change them. There's not going to be any alignment violations because you were doing it against your will, so I'm not going to say, you killed an innocent person, now you're evil, haha, you horrible man. And, I will reward you for your proper role-playing by giving you an extra little reward.
Okay, well, hopefully that's kind of what I expect from a DM. I guess sometimes you need to.
But yeah, sometimes it's I'm going to ask you guys to trust me on this part of the story arc, and be a little meta and say, okay, there will be rewards if you find a nice little animal of cute, tropical maritime style. Go for it.
Yeah. Can I tell the listeners about our email?
I think you can.
We have an email address that you can send all your email to. Forward us all of your email.
Especially the parts that give away the passwords to your other places. Send us those.
That's thesimulationist@gmail.com. If you have stories or little things that we forgot, corrections, stuff that we missed. And
unless it's too far in the future, if you're listening to this in 2016 and you're saying dude, I know so much more about Overwatch than you. Yeah. When we're in 2016, we'll know more about it as well. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
So keep in mind like how far like the time discrepancy is between us, because we're sending this out into the future, man.
But if it's a very large time discrepancy and you have access to time travel email, then yes, please send it back to this current date.
We will need some proof that it is right, so send us lottery numbers that work.
Yeah. Please don't send it before this current date. That would just be really confusing.
So yeah. We do need some time code.
We would know if that had happened.
Well, it depends on which time stream you're
I'm
going
willing
by.
to blow $6 on a confirmation ticket.
No.
Especially if it's like a $50 million lottery. Yeah. So yeah, if you are sending it backwards through time, we do need proper confirmation codes, which is the lottery numbers.
Yeah, cool. And we also have a Facebook page that you can go on and post comments and type all your thoughts on there too, and other people can see them there. That's facebook.com/thesimulationist. And we're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, and you can leave reviews and comments there too, and tell all your friends.
We are not on Tumblr, but we are on Twitter.
Well,
Josh is.
I now have a Tumblr account, but I don't have a Tumblr. They're not blogs; they're just Tumblrs.
You don't tumble on it.
I don't tumble yet, anyways. But I do have. I've signed up for it, and I read other people's Tumblrs.
I read a couple Tumblrs myself.
If you have a Tumblr that you think we'd be interested in, I will. Send that to us via email.
Tumble it our way.
What else do I usually say at the end here? At SpaceBoot1 is my Twitter.
Yeah, that's how you find him. Not just like the Simulationist or who is this Josh guy?
Are you on Twitter?
I was, but the only people that I followed were Bill Murray and Jackie Chan, and then I just stopped paying attention to it. So no, I'm not on Twitter or Tumblr.
You've lapsed. You've twit-lapsed.
Yeah, I didn't have anything important to put on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I just didn't see the point of it.
But here's the thing: with only 2 people that you're following, you have 140 characters where nobody can judge you. You can write.
What's the point?
You can write anything. It's like the Zen freedom of existence. It doesn't matter what you write. No one will hold it over your head. You are completely free, so long as you're constrained by 140 characters.
That's meh. This is my basic response. Meh.
It's Zen freedom, buddy. That's why you're never going to hit Nirvana.
Well, some people.
I'm going to look down at I'm going to look down from Nirvana, and I'm going to laugh at you. And then I'm going to lose a bit of my Nirvana because you made me laugh at you in your non-Nirvana.
Yeah, isn't Nirvana separation from the world, so you don't look back from Nirvana?
It's being so still and causing so little ripples within reality that you kind of get subsumed into the oneness of the universe.
Okay.
Pretty sweet. I'll have some of that.
But you won't, because you can't imagine my Zen-isms, man. And mine aren't even good Zenisms, man.
Maybe that's why I can't imagine them, because they're not good Zenisms. It's not even a word.
Zen...
Koans?
Well, there's koans, but those are special kinds.
And cones, and cylinders, and cubes.
Yeah.
Man, you don't even get my Zen, lines. It's horrible.
Zen line segments.
I'm only...
All right. So, final thoughts from either of you on working for the man.
I think working for the man is a wonderful way to get everyone together, cohesive, and explainable. Like the Scarred Lands setting had the oh no, there are things beyond the pantheon that are seeking to undo reality as you know it, and it'll all just be a horrible mesh of monsters stomping on everything. So assassin and paladin go work together and go kill some real baddies. And it gets you, it allows you to have any alignments together. And it's rules that actually give you greater freedom that way. And that's potentially the best reason to be members of a group. It allows you to do the stuff you couldn't do otherwise. So if you are planning it out for a story or a novel, think to yourself, do they really need to be working as agents of this authority? Or could they just be freelance? Or could they be working against, I'm not working for you at all, but we are oriented towards the same goals. Just I'm going to flip you off as I go do my goal and leave you not being able to do it. So I think that's the best reason to be a part of it. Other than that, the free goodies that they give you for wooing you to their side. Don't sell yourself cheaply. You are a high-level adventurer / mercenary, and you deserve the good stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. How about you, Jay?
I think it mostly just depends on what sort of setting you want to have, but I feel like having it not working for someone where it's more open-ended, you have your self-agency, is good for a nice character-driven plot, but as I was saying, that seems to be really, really difficult to do unless you have extremely dedicated players that you know will be there reliably, which unfortunately I don't have. Which I would like to get at some point.
Just remember the saying, not every man wishes to be a free man. Some people just wish for a benevolent master.
Yeah, that's true. That's also pretty good. Yeah.
That's a horrible thing to say.
Well, not necessarily. Some people just don't really care that much about their absolute freedom.
I like working, but I don't want to own my own business.
Okay.
I don't want to deal with that hassle.
I do. When you said master, I was thinking, slave. But no, as employee or like boss employee, okay, that's fine. Yeah.
No.
I mean, I don't want to rule the government, but I wouldn't mind, a nice government position.
But yeah, when you put it in terms of like actual like ownership, then yeah.
Well, that's just how it was stated, as best I can remember from the saying. I think it might have been Nietzsche who said it, so take it with a grain of sarcasm. So how about you, Josh? You pro-man or anti-man?
I think I prefer the chaotic campaigns where you're not really working for anybody but yourself and your ideals. Which, yeah.
You are big on your ideals.
Yeah.
You believer.
I guess so. I don't know. I'm not necessarily a good person. Like, I don't...
Capital G good.
Maybe I'm just chaotic neutral.
No. Earlier tonight when we were driving around, you were not speaking so ill as I was towards the other people on the road. So you got to be better than me.
Well, at least I'm not evil like you, yeah.
What can I say? You put me behind the wheel, I become lawful evil.
Well, fair enough. Right, yeah. Okay.
But at least I'm lawful on the road, so there's that.
Yes, that is true.
So yeah, in the end, I think it does boil down to talking with the players, see what they want, and see whether or not it's something that has to be done that way, or whether or not it wants to be done that way.
Yeah, or I suppose like in a campaign, you can give them the option. You can say, oh, there's Kingdom A over here who is sort of lawful good, and you might want to work for them. But they also have a few like gray areas
that you need to follow.
And restrictions. Yeah. And there's Kingdom B over here, which is a little more loose with the rules, but they also they might be evil a little bit.
Meanwhile, over here you've got the Crazy Man lands, which are kind of like the bad lands, and everyone gets to rule whatever they see fit. So it's kind of like omnigarchy.
Yeah, so I guess that's almost like the sandbox style, like, here's a world, go where you feel like going, sort of.
Yeah. Or, it's just like, hey, kind of flesh things out as you go. I'll just, take the campaign once you guys create the framework, and I'll flesh it out myself.
Or I suppose it could be like, here's the dungeon, and you can go there on behalf of Kingdom A, Kingdom B, or Guild C, and...
Say you went there under the guidance of Kingdom A to Kingdom A, under the guidance of Kingdom B to Kingdom B, and under the advice of the Guild C to Guild C.
And collect rewards from all three.
Triple dipping, baby.
Yeah. Actually, you do that sometimes in like World of Warcraft. When you go into a dungeon, you have several quests from...
Oh, yeah, the old was it 4 loop that they used to have for the Barons? You go and you pick up so many quests, and you go around and you complete all the quests, you make a giant loop, you come back to town, toss all the quests in, pick up the next batch of them, and you go out again for the vast loop of the Barons. It was something, I'll say that. I do believe, in my mind, if I ever create a savannah, there will be a part of it where people go crazy and they keep hearing voices and stupid people chattering in the back of their head, and it will be the Barons' chat going on. So it has forever tainted my perception of a savannah land now. So, but I believe that's about our time for this week.
Yep.
So, I guess we'll see everyone out there in 7 days.
Yeah. Who have we been? I've been Josh Trelevin this whole time.
I've been Ryan Kirkby.
I've been Jason Kirkby about half the time.
Yeah, I don't know who you were the rest of the time, but you got to keep your finger out of your nose.
Okay, fair enough.
It's disgusting. I don't care if no one else can see it.
Thanks, Jason, for joining us on that note, and thank you all listeners for listening. We'll see you again next week on the Simulationist podcast.
Take care out there.
Bye for now. Send money.